If you're overwhelmed by all the conflicting health and fat loss and fitness advice out there, low carb, intermittent fasting, keto, no, do paleo, no, you got to do vegetarian. Well, you're not alone and you're actually in the right place because today I'm actually going to show you exactly why most of that advice is confusing you on purpose. I realize that sounds crazy, but it is. And I'm also going to share the 3-step formula that I teach my clients to finally start seeing progress in the most sustainable way. So stick around also because at the end, I'm going to send you my sustainable fat loss cheat sheet to simplify all of the noise so you can cut through and actually start getting results that fit your life, fit your family, fit your values, especially if you are a faith-driven leader like most of the people and the clients that I work with. So, hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome here. My name is Lance, and I help high-achieving, faith-driven professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders get fit and healthy, but without the extreme dieting, without the rigidness, or the fitness obsession. We don't want that either. So since 2005, I have helped hundreds upon hundreds of busy men and women drop fat, build strength, and actually feel confident without giving up their family time, their faith priorities, or their favorite foods. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive in and I'm going to dispel a few different myths that are out there. I'm going to help to make this significantly less confusing than what it has been made. So the very first thing is I want to be honest and let me say it this way, rather than me being honest, I want us to be honest with ourselves. If you have tried any of the latest fat loss trends, the latest fitness and get fit quick schemes and all of this, and ended up more confused and felt like you got results that you couldn't hold on to, it's not your fault. Right now, you're probably hearing things like, well, you got to cut carbs, or your carbs are too high. We got to fast for 16 hours, or maybe you've heard go low fat and eat only clean, or shop the perimeters of the aisles, or you got to make sure that you're lifting heavy enough for at least an hour with maybe 30 minutes of cardio, and make sure you're doing that 5 days a week. Or maybe if you don't have time, just do HIIT 5 days a week. Or maybe you've heard that you need to go run and hit cardio 45 to 60 minutes each time. Or that you need this weird and expensive shake that was derived from some sort of plant in the South American rainforest. And it's going to just melt your fat without any of this work to be done. And the thing of it is that number one is that a lot of these things aren't going to be actually working for your lifestyle. Number two is some of them don't work at all. So we got to make sure that it fits your values, your sanity, your lifestyle. Otherwise, you're going to find ways to sabotage the plan. And that means that all of your hard work and effort is basically for what I call a temporary makeover instead of a permanent transformation. So here's what most people do when they're confused, all right? They try to do everything right, from cutting calories to clean eating, no sugar, all of the things like I cut out soda, I cut out this. And they either don't see enough results to feel worthwhile, or they see results and realize they just cannot stick with such rigidness. And they think, well, great, I guess I'm never going to get fit because I'm just not disciplined enough. Or they jump from one extreme plan to the next, hoping that this is going to be the one that is finally going to work for me, okay? Or they just give up entirely, just completely thinking, well, maybe they're just, too busy. I'm just too busy. I'm just too old. My metabolism is too slow. I'm just too far gone. It's just not going to work. All of these things, unfortunately, lead to either burnout, frustration, or believing that getting fit means sacrificing your life in order to be fit and healthy. But here's the actual truth, though, and this is a big, big, big important thing. Most diets and workouts do not fail because you lack discipline, okay? They fail because they're not actually built for people like you, people like me, people with real jobs, careers, businesses that are more than 35 hours a week, families, responsibilities, and real lives. That was, in fact, one of the biggest things that I struggled with my first 5 years of being a certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist. I struggled because I knew how to, quote, get into shape the most rigid ways possible. Slash those calories, cut out carbs, work out like a beast regularly, and there is no rest if you want to get where you want to go, but you got to be dedicated. And if you're really into it, you're going to call this dedication and this lack of enjoyment in your life a lifestyle. And I get where that's coming from, but the issue is that this is an extreme, okay? An extreme that doesn't fit my life, it hasn't fit my clients' lives, and it probably doesn't fit yours, or you wouldn't be on this video. So this approach that everybody does, unfortunately, where again, they fail because these are not things that fit into your lifestyle. So what happens is people rely on extremes like super low calories, all of these crazy food rules, and really black and white, all or nothing thinking of, well, I can't have that pizza because I'm trying to lose weight or I'm trying to get in shape, or, no, I mean, I don't eat carbs anymore because I've got to get this weight off. And unfortunately, this approach doesn't just lead to self-sabotage, but it also causes metabolism slowdown, muscle loss, because usually you're going to be severely low calories, and eventually it leads back to weight gain, especially if you're over 35 and you notice that your hormones have changed and that you don't have the same energy, or maybe you're not as active as you were before. So the reality is that everything that most people are pushing, at least from my 20 years of fitness experience professionally at this point, has been that most people are focused on getting results as quickly as possible, and that's what they're being taught, when most people actually truly want, yes, they want to get results quickly, but they want those results permanently, and they want to do it in a way where it doesn't feel like they've got to put their entire lives on pause to do this. Is this making sense, or am I just alone on this one? I know myself, I used to believe that I absolutely lacked discipline because I had no desire to eat rabbit food all the time and to just simply eat chicken and kale and protein shakes in order to be fit and healthy. It didn't feel very fit. It didn't feel very healthy to me, especially whenever I felt so deprived that I would end up wanting to, pretty much eat anything and everything that was deemed off of the don't eat list once I finally just lost my sanity, okay? You start going like, I don't care how much pizza, I just need pizza, and then you wolf it all down. This is all from living on those extremes that most of the fitness and diet industries are pushing, and it does not lead to the fitness that you want. But I'll digress, otherwise this will be too long of a video. Okay, so if you want to lose fat in a way that actually works long term, where you're not losing muscle to do it, you're not slowing down your metabolism or slowing down your thyroid and slowing down your hormone production, you've got to actually do things different. So the very first thing that you need to understand is that all diets are going to primarily work for the same reason: a calorie deficit. Now, calorie deficit does not mean that you're just eating less than what you were. A calorie deficit means that you are consuming or eating fewer calories than you're able to burn in a given day. So this is known as your total daily energy expenditure, which is the amount of calories that you need to maintain your weight. If you eat less than that, it can't just be 5 less calories or 50. That's going to take a very long time. But if you eat fewer calories in this, you are going to notice fat loss. And if you do it right, where you don't do extreme deficits, you won't notice lean body mass loss and metabolism slowing. You'll notice very consistent fat loss. And this is the place to be. So the step one is you've got to understand your numbers. How do all of the diets work? Well, they usually use some sort of weird method that ultimately ends in a calorie deficit. You cut out your carbs, it works because each carb is worth 4 calories per gram. Cutting out 200 carbs times 4 calories is 800 calories. So if you eat paleo, the idea is that you're eating the perimeter of the store, the foods that are more Paleolithic, as it were, at least as the claim goes. I'll digress. The point is with this is that in eating these more holistic foods that are not processed and that don't have all of the additives, you have therefore reduced your calorie intake to a more manageable one. It all works the same, okay? Now, so the very first thing that you need to do is forget the diet names and start with your calorie needs based on your lifestyle. So forget the diets, forget the diet names, forget which fitness method you've heard about. Just scratch all of that right now. It's all gone. Scratch it out of your mind. And you start with your calorie needs, all right? Now, I've got other videos literally on how to determine your fat loss calories and macros. So go watch that as soon as you're done with this, but you need to understand this first, all right? So all of these diets all work for the same reason. You're in a calorie deficit, as I mentioned. And keto, low carbs, low fat, paleo, intermittent fasting, all of them work due to deficits. Paleo is low inflammation, which is going to help, but without a deficit, it doesn't do anything. Intermittent fasting is still going to work because you're giving yourself a restricted eating window. If you normally eat 12 hours and you allow yourself to do all of these things, to eat your food in that amount of time, 12 hours, you might take in, let's say, 3,000, just as a round number, 3,000 calories in 12 hours. If you only give yourself 6 or 8 hours to eat, in theory, as long as you're paying attention, you're going to eat a fewer amount of calories, okay? It doesn't always work that way, but that is the idea, especially if you do it kind of the way that most of them are going to teach, which is going to be cleaner foods and intermittent fasting. But there's nothing about fasting in and of itself that is going to lead to some magical fat loss or muscle building or transformation, okay? It's just a modality. And the truth is that if that modality doesn't fit your lifestyle more than a year, it's not the modality for you. If you are a faith-driven, high-performing person, okay, like the clients that I work with, you're not looking to get weight off as quickly as you can so that you're just skinny and you're just a lighter weight. You're looking to feel better, look better, have strength, stamina, energy, more confidence, and a healthy body fat so that you're setting an example for your team, for your kids, the people that you shepherd over, et cetera, okay? So I know I'm getting off a tangent here, but this is important. So once you've determined your calorie deficit, which you can use my other video to figure that out for you, from there you've got to choose a macro ratio that fits you, fits your lifestyle. Not because, Joe down at the local fitness gym tells you, no, man, you got to do the only 10% carbs. Any more than 10% is bad because of blah, blah, blah. Those are the sort of things that I'm talking about, because all that does is just get you off of track of what actually matters most, okay? So when you have your macros, you want to think to yourself, like, what matters to me? Like, what fits in my lifestyle? And I teach that on that other video. But what I mean is, number one, you got to make sure that you're getting adequate protein and adequate fiber, because those are going to be, without teaching all of this, they're going to be the most thermogenic, which means that they're going to be responsible for helping you to burn more calories just by eating them. We'll leave it there on that one. I explain more in that other video, but we want to start with protein and fiber, making sure that you've got adequate amounts of those. Fiber is a micronutrient, not a macro, but it's so important that I always include that in the macros to make sure that you're getting enough. So protein, a quick reminder, about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of not your body weight, your goal body weight, okay? So, and then your fiber, aim for about 25 to 35 grams of fiber. At least we'll just start there, okay? Once you've gotten that, it really doesn't matter which ratio you want to go. If you like low carb, do low carb. If you like low fat, do it. I personally prefer a balanced carb and fat ratio, which means that if I've got 35% of my calories coming from protein, the other 65% is going to come from my fats and my carbs. So I just simply split them. Might be 30%, 35, whatever it might be. Either way, you can split it about down the middle if you'd like to do so. All right. So let's see. Got that. All right, cool. So the rest can basically be flexible. You don't need to worry about too much about the carbs and fats, which ratio is perfect. Check out that other video on calories and macros, and that'll teach you exactly what ratio and how much you need. Okay, so now we've got your very first thing, which is understanding your calorie number. Step 2 is going to be you need to use the 80-20 rule. You do not have to eat clean and healthy 100% of the time. I know that you might have been told, well, this food is bad for me, or, oh, I know I shouldn't be eating cake, but I love it. I know I shouldn't, but I blah. No, the reality is you shouldn't eat it all the time. But if you cut it out all the time, unless you are just in a vacuum where you're not exposed to any of those foods, then be my guest if you want to cut them out. But the reality is in this world that we live in, we are surrounded by those sort of foods that are typically tempting and feel a little bit more rewarding to eat. So we can either avoid them and then we binge, or we can simply create a version of moderation. Well, if you're like me and you grew up like I did, where I had zero food moderation and I was pretty aggressive in anything that I ate with a huge appetite, then somebody tells you, yeah, just do it in moderation. You're going to be like, what the heck does that mean? Does that mean I got to eat my cereal bowl in a small, or my cereal in a smaller salad bowl? Because that's how we did it. My brother and I, we would just get a big old salad bowl, dump a bunch of cereal, and you eat until it's gone. And so somebody tells me, no, you don't have to cut out cereal, but do it in moderation. I'm like, do I cut it in half? Do I just reduce it by a third? I mean, this is a big bowl. What I teach specifically is using the 80-20 rule, which means that 80% of your calories should come from nutrient-dense foods. Those are the foods that you know to be healthy or nutritious. We call them nutrient-dense, all right? 20% of your calories, not 1 day a week, 7 days a week, or as you see fit, can come from fun foods. These are going to be foods that are more calorie dense, less nutrient dense. There is no bad food or good food unless it's bioengineered or just plastic and creates tons of inflammation, and those foods do exist. But as a general, there are no foods that you have to cut out if they're actual foods, okay? And that includes things like refined sugars. You just want to moderate it to make sure that you're not doing it excessively. The 80-20 rule is a perfect scenario that allows you to get some of the foods that you crave without sabotaging, but also being nourished enough that you have the energy, the brain function, and the vital hormones that you need to not only lose body fat, but to keep on muscle so that your metabolism stays on fire, okay? So doing the 100% all clean eating all the time, it's a recipe for rebellion once you feel deprived, and that will happen. And again, unless you're a fitness monk, which I'm not and my clients aren't, you're not going to stick with that long term. And that's what this channel is all about. It is not about weight loss. It is not about getting fit and ripped as quick as you can. It is getting healthy and fit. And even if you want to see your abs, wonderful, but do it in a way that is sustainable so that you don't reach your goal and then lose everything. It's like winning the lottery. There's a reason they call it curse of the lottery, because people don't know how to steward over their money. Yes, I'm using air quotes a lot. Just call me Dr. Evil. The point is that people don't know how to steward over their money, so therefore they lose it. What I'm teaching you is how do you steward over your health and fitness the biblical way? Well, this is how we do this. We do it with balance, and we give ourselves grace, and we don't aim for perfection like the world teaches. The world teaches you to get healthy and fit on sand, whereas what I'm going to teach you on this channel is how to get healthy and fit on rock, the same way that the word teaches us, okay? So again, 20% of the time stick to, 80% of the time stick to mostly whole foods. 20% of the time, give yourself that flexibility so that you don't feel deprived and you can enjoy the occasional treat without guilt or without spiraling and self-sabotaging. All right. Now, this could be pizza, fries, donuts, ice cream, a glass of wine, cereal like I like too. Whatever that might be, that's how you do it, okay? Hopefully this is making sense. I know I'm talking fast, but I want to make sure I get through all this. Okay, so step 3, you gradually rebuild your movement foundation. A lot of people will tell you, you've got to work out heavy weights, 5 days a week. You've got to do cardio, 45 to 60 minutes. Guys, I've heard them all. So think of them right now. What thing have you been told that you need to do for exercise? For maybe, have you been told you need to go run? Have you been told you need to do fasted cardio? Have you been told that you've got to do an hour lift 3 times a week for full body? Whatever it might be that you've been told, you need to know that most people don't realize how inactive we've become in modern life. So we want to start with activity and movement before we do anything else. So in the 1970s, the average American took around 10,000 steps per day. I have other studies that even suggest as high as 15 to 20,000, but the average was 10,000 a day just by living daily life. They didn't have to make any effort to do this. Today, the average is closer to 3,000 to 4,000 steps, and that includes people who think that they're pretty active. There's the air quotes again. That drop is a huge reason why so many people struggle with their weight, their energy, their mood, and even if they occasionally work out, unfortunately, they're too sedentary for the amount of calories with all this, supersized calorie dense foods that we like to eat. So we have, from 1970s to today, significantly less activity. From 1970s to today, significantly higher calories, and it's much easier to get, all right? You can go up to any restaurant, any fast food place, and easily get 2,000 calories at one simple single meal, all right? So let's see, okay, got that. So any PA, NEPA, or non-exercise physical activity, or NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that is going to be basically just like it sounds. You've got exercise activity, which is scheduled exercise. It's responsible for about 4 to 6% of your total calorie burn, whereas non-exercise physical activity like walking, fidgeting, playing games, doing normal activities, those can be responsible for upwards of 15 to 20% of your total metabolism. And that's the area where we are lacking so much. So, as you might guess, that's the very first thing that we're going to talk about is improving or increasing your daily activity. So here's what I teach my clients. 5,000 steps a day is your minimum, what we call your good goal or your lowest aim. 7,500 steps is your great goal or the middle aim for your targets. 10,000 steps a day is your awesome goal or highest aim. What this is good, great, and awesome goals. Your good goal is the minimum. Your awesome goal is your maximum. Don't allow yourself to get beneath your good goal unless you are sick. But you also don't need to aim for higher than 10,000 steps, your awesome goal, until you've done it for weeks at a time. This, my friend, is how you build up good activity, even if you believe you don't have much time to exercise. And this will cause you, with the calories and the macros I just explained, you will drop not just body weight, because we are not a lose weight channel. You will drop body fat, meaning fat, not including water and muscle, which slows down the metabolism, okay? So these targets are going to help with fat loss, with metabolism, with mental clarity, and muscle preservation. So you want to start essentially by making walking, not exercise, a daily habit before you focus on adding intense workouts. Now, once you have consistently, and that is the key word, built your movement foundation, and this foundation is, again, you are getting between 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. What I'm going to tell you is, first thing is make sure you're getting 5,000 steps a day for 2 to 3 weeks before you try and hit 7,500. Before you try and hit 10,000, same rule applies. Hit 7,500 2 to 3 weeks. And then lastly, you're going to hit 10,000. Once you've hit that 2 to 3 weeks and you're noticing, hey, this is feeling good, I'm staying consistent without the pressure, without all of the shame and the guilt and all of this stuff, and I'm doing well, now it is time that you do want to incorporate resistance training. I don't have time to get into all the reasons that you want to do that, but I will say that if you add in just 2 to 3 short, not long, resistance training sessions per week to build your strength, to boost your metabolism, to protect muscle, it's going to help you with everything from thyroid to your sex hormones, even your stress hormones like cortisol, and even downplaying ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, and making sure that leptin is in a better condition as well, all from resistance training, okay? So resistance training is going to be a huge thing. If you want to know how to do that, watch some of my other videos where I teach specifically if you have short amount of time or if you have longer time, you can do either of those, and that will get you where you want to go. This, my friend, is how we build, let's say this. This is how we actually build amazing momentum without burnout. This is how we build this amazing structure where you're fit and healthy and you never have to go on a weight loss program or a fitness routine again, because you now are living a life where you're eating the right amount of calories, you're eating the right amount of macro ratio blends and targets so that you're nourished but enjoying yourself. You're active enough that just those two things alone are going to keep you where you want to go. And then when we add in resistance training, now we're turning ourselves more into, let's say, more athletes. We're turning ourselves into our highest possible standard. Most people just try and do all of it at once, and they wonder why they burn themselves out. They don't make things a habit. They're just trying to reach their destination as quickly as possible. This is kind of the equivalent of trying to go on vacation and deciding that you want to get to that vacation as soon as you can. So you're willing to actually drive 140 or 150 miles an hour, knowing that, well, if I just drive faster, I'm going to get there quicker. Yeah, but you're also going to probably hit a tree, or you're going to go off the road, or it's just going to be a dangerous trip for you. Why let yourself have that dangerous trip when you're trying to get to a destination that you want to enjoy so much? That is exactly the point of this channel, the same thing. Okay, so why does all of this work? This works because it puts you back in control instead of the guilt, the shame, and the constant pressure. You learn what your body actually needs instead of what some diet tells you to do. You build habits that fit your values, your schedule, your responsibilities, your beliefs. You finally stop chasing the magic get fit quick schemes, and you start building your fit identity, your healthy identity, one that aligns with your goals, your vision, and your lifestyle. When that happens, do you think that you're going to derail your progress? Probably not, because you're enjoying life, you're healthy, you're getting results, but you're also not miserable. That's a good recipe. So if you want to skip the guesswork and get results without the confusion, go ahead and drop the word cheat sheet in the comments below. I'm going to send you my sustainable fat loss cheat sheet. It's a simple one-page guide with the exact steps that I teach my clients how to eat for fat loss without cutting out your favorite foods. And of course, you're going to get access to understanding how to build the flexibility into your plan that works with your real life, not against it. So drop the word cheat sheet below and I'll send it right over. So thanks guys so much for watching and tuning in. If you feel like this was helpful, be sure to drop a like below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you on the next one.